I think this was probably one of the bigger shockers of the weekend. Alabama at Florida State in Tallahassee. The rain was here and there an issue, but Florida State, they do the upset. They complete the upset. 31-17. There used to be a time when calling out Alabama meant that your team was about to be put through hell for 60 minutes. You remember that one Vanderbilt player when he was like, "You're about to see what SEC football really looks." Yeah, that guy. And then Nick Saban came through Nashville and cooked them for 59-0. So
Hmm.
I think we have to kind of reevaluate what Alabama is right now. We have entered into an era where a player like Thomas Castellanos can call out Alabama. This guy was playing at Boston College last year. He calls out Alabama, and then he actually runs all over you. So we're just in a different era of college football right now, and we just have to get used to that. Castellanos, shout out to him. He was 9 for 14 with 152 yards through the air, and he had 16 carries for 78 yards on the ground, and that also includes a rushing touchdown. So he was looking great. He backed up everything that he had to say about Alabama. Ty Simpson, I don't know. He's been kind of waiting his turn for a while. He's been in the Alabama program for a while, but he looked lost at times. Ryan Williams, he looked like he was 17. I know he's not 17 anymore, but he looked young. Run game, it looked kind of anemic. They averaged 2.6 yards per carry versus Florida State's 4.7. I don't know. Was there anything else in the stats you feel like, Aaron, that we were missing here? Like Florida State was just a better team.
Sure, sure. So, if you look at high level at the stats, you mentioned Ty Simpson looked lost at times. At a very quick glance, he had 254 yards, two passing touchdowns, no interceptions. So if you just look at that high level, you're like, wow, like he didn't
Yeah.
have a terrible game. And then you look at Tommy Castellanos, he only had 152 yards and zero passing touchdowns. And so the question is, how did Castellanos? How did he have the better game?
You're right.
Um, well, you got to look a little bit deeper. You got to look at another stat. It's called quarterback rating, right?
Hmm.
And so he had a quarterback rating that was twice as high as Ty Simpson's.
Hmm.
And why? It's because the quarterback rating, it's comprised of a couple of different components. The first one is completion percentage. So even though Ty Simpson had almost 100 more passing yards,
Hmm.
he threw the ball 43 times and only completed about half of them. Whereas, Castellanos, he threw the ball 14 times and he completed 9 of them. So you see a much higher percentage there. Uh, Yards per attempt, since he only completed about 9 passes and it went for 152 yards, that sounds like nothing but deep balls and
Right.
and shots on the field.
Hmm.
Um, Touchdowns per attempt. So again, maybe Castellanos would have had a better rating if he would have threw some pass touchdowns, but he balanced that out with his rushing yards. And then interceptions per attempt. Nobody threw any interceptions, so that was a positive sign for both sides of the ball. But all in all, um, like you said, Castellanos, he called out his game, and he came and he showed up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What was going on defense though? It seemed like there was obvious difficulty containing a more mobile quarterback on Alabama's part, and there was missed tackles all day for Alabama, which is, again, we're just gonna have to get used to Alabama maybe not being as um, strict on defense. What was it about each of these teams' identity that led to the result that we saw today?
Sure, sure. So, for me, starting with FSU, I think it's their identity this year, from what we're seeing, is an immense level of confidence, or some could call it cockiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Nonetheless, I contribute their identity now and their new success to their new leader in Thomas Castellanos.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who obviously is going to be a problem in the ACC. And
Mm-hmm.
he embodies what a dual threat quarterback is, and that's somebody who can take off and do video game like runs,
Yeah.
or somebody who can throw the deep ball. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. Did not have them on my radar, but I think I should now.
For sure.
Um, on the other side, so you have Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, who honestly, in my opinion, he relies too much on the quarterback to get him out of the game and get out of there with a win.
Yeah. Live and die by the quarterback.
Live and die by the quarterback, right? There has to be a lot of help from the supporting cast. The
Mhm.
defense has to be more efficient and execute. We talked a little bit about this new era of Alabama football, and I think we're just so accustomed to seeing the old Alabama rely on discipline,
Mhm.
execution, and then when it came down to it, my athletes are better than yours. But I think we're
Mhm.
missing, that execution and discipline, even if they do have the better athletes right now. And
Oh,
so,
okay, gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, I think there's a lot of things that can be cleaned up on their side of the ball. Will they ever be cleaned up? I don't know. I feel like we just always see DeBoer on the sideline with
Chilling.
with a blank expression, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's not the Saban would, blow a gasket
yeah.
while leading a team 57-0. So it's just a
Right.
completely different dynamic.